I have a toddler son with my ex. He was honest and told me he didn't want to be a dad and believed he was too selfish to be a good one. I didn't want an abortion and he said he wouldn't force me to get one, so we agreed that I would have the baby and he would help me financially, but I wouldn't expect anything else from him. My friend Nancy, a close family friend of my ex's, recently wouldn't stop asking me if my ex was my son's father since he looks like him. Only my family knew he was and I wasn't going to tell her at first, but Nancy is one of my best friends and I thought I could trust her. So I asked her not to tell anyone as I didn't want it to be public knowledge. Despite agreeing not to, she ended up telling not only my ex about me supposedly hiding his baby from him, but also his entire family. It's caused many issues and my ex's family has a lawyer threatening to take my son away from me. My ex's family is influential and I can't afford to fight them in court, so I'm terrified of them. Nancy tried apologizing to me after my ex told her he'd always known about our son. I was so angry and upset that I just yelled at her until she left. I told her she was a witch and that she'd ruined my life. Nancy has been getting sympathy from some of our mutual friends who think I was too harsh since she felt she was doing the right thing by telling my ex, who is like family to her, that he had a child. Am I the idiot? Not the idiot. She didn't just tell your ex, but also his family. She is, knowing best, has potentially created a situation for him and a substantial legal issue for you that you not only can't afford, but could also result in losing custody of your child. Yes, you have the right to be angry. Her interfering could ruin your life. She broke your trust. Thanks to her idiocy, I would demand she pay for the lawyer that you will now need. Not only did she tell the ex and the family, but she also went and complained about the situation to mutual friends, so an argument could be made for sharing it with the father, not the extended family, and definitely not the mutual friends. What an idiot. Agree. I would expect her to help your ex's family in court before I would expect her to try to make things right with OP. OP, she tricked you into telling her and then told on you and created family drama. She could have approached him privately, but chose not to. She wanted to look like a hero for exposing you, but there was no good deed done that day. She is not your friend. Cut contact with her. Yeah, she was trying to insert herself into the story because she wanted to be associated with it forever so that when people gossiped about the drama, they'd have to mention her. Only this story isn't about a father trying to win custody from a wicked mother who hid the child away. It's about a father who doesn't want to be involved at all and nosy parents threatening to harass a single mother, so the story isn't as good and doesn't paint her in a heroic light anymore. You and your ex should go to court ASAP and establish a court-ordered arrangement where he agrees to pay child support until whatever visitation arrangement you two agree with. The judge does not have to arrange for you if you two can agree to the terms of the parenting plan. This way, the family will be less likely to try and take your son. Your ex should also deal with his family in this situation and explain to them that he already knew and you two already made arrangements. I'm a single mother to a tween girl. We recently got moved from the UK to America by my company and it's been quite an adjustment, but we're settling in well enough. She misses her friends and the family we left behind, but we Zoom regularly and she's begun to make new friends, especially after I found her a new dojang to continue her taekwondo. All in all, everything was going fine except for one thing. Our next door neighbour is a stay-at-home mom to 3 girls, tween, pre-tween and younger child. She's nosy and always poking around and trying to talk to us. I put this down to curiosity, plus perhaps I misread her intentions as I'm still adjusting to how people can be here. The issue came, however, 3 days ago when she came round and I let her in for some coffee. She tried to convince me to sign my daughter up for some kind of pre-teen beauty pageant. I won't lie, I was shocked by this. I don't know anyone who does this kind of thing and they seem disgusting to me. I didn't want to be rude as all 3 of her girls do it, so I didn't share that thought and instead I told her it wasn't my daughter's cup of tea as she's a total tomboy and always wearing jeans and whatever gaming t-shirt she can find. My neighbour tutted at this and said she'd seen and commented on what a waste it was as my daughter was so pretty and I was letting her waste her potential with all those boy things. She even tried to suggest it was something our girls could bond over and how she'd teach her how to walk and dress and do makeup for it and how it would be much more fun than fighting and getting bruises. I won't lie, I was getting angry at this and told her that my daughter was much too young for that kind of thing and I wouldn't force her either as I knew she'd have no interest. She tried to say we should ask her and that I shouldn't have made this kind of choice on my own, and implied that with how busy I must be at work, it was normal that girly things would slip by me, and it's okay. At this point, I told her to get out of my house, mind her own business, and not dare question how I parent my daughter. Bringing up, I was polite enough not to say how disgusting I think she makes her daughters do those kinds of pageants. This led to a lot of gasping and shocked anger before she stormed out. I've had a little time to cool off since then, and maybe I snapped too easily. It's tough raising my daughter alone, and I didn't like the implication I was failing her in some way. Plus, I know these shows are more common in America than the UK, so maybe I tripped over some cultural landmine. Since then, every time she sees my daughter and I, she gives us very dirty looks. Did I mess up here? Should I try to mend the rift I caused? Maybe I misread what she intended to be kind as an attack. Still not letting my daughter do pageants, though. Not the idiot. It sounds like she can't handle girls veering from the traditional, uber-feminine path. Or one or more of her daughters was asking why they had to do those pageants when other girls like your daughter don't have to, and why couldn't they do taekwondo like your daughter? Growing up, I was one of those dreaded girls who didn't wear pink, and holy God, did the moms hate me for my non-compliance, because their daughters wanted to climb trees, play in the crick, and get dirty. This is so on point, so very on point. I know women like this, and they think they're saving your daughter. Unfortunately, they won't change their opinion nor stop the relentlessly polite but rude suggestions. Sorry you moved in next door to a pageant mom. Pageant people are all insane. You did fine and she was pretty rude to you. It would have been polite of her to drop it after your initial rejection. It was extremely rude to keep at it and insult your parenting in the process and in your own home. I, 28 female, have been with my boyfriend Jay, 33, for 3 years. He has a daughter Chloe, kindergartner, from a previous relationship with Fiona, 32 female. They were together for years but broke up when Chloe was a little over 1, Fiona's choice. She's been a nightmare ever since, and from what I hear was a nightmare before they even broke up. She's constantly denying him parenting time, demanding money, dropping off Chloe randomly so she can go party, etc., etc. You name it, she's your stereotypical bitter baby mama. He's been trying his hardest to be a 50-50 parent, but she wants her way or the highway. I finally convinced him to get a court order. He was scared of her threats of full custody and what she claimed the courts would do, so he never filed until now. The dilemma now is that he has the option to ask for a paternity test. His family has been asking him to get one forever, but he keeps saying no. Now they're telling me to convince him to do it, since I was the only one who could get him to go to court when his family has been trying for years. I probably could convince him to get one, but I don't think I want him to. She doesn't look like him, and there's a heavy chance she's not his. I'll just say that now. Also, we know Fiona was a cheater. After everything Fiona has put him through, this would crush his soul and he'd probably lose all rights to Chloe. Chloe is his daughter regardless, and he's been a consistent father in her life since birth. I don't know what good a paternity test will do. Sometimes I look at her and see his mannerisms and see little glimpses that could be him, but we just don't know. I think the test would do more harm than good. We love Chloe. She's my little bonus daughter, and once all this court stuff is over with, we plan to get married and grow our family. I want Chloe to be part of that. His family thinks I'm being irresponsible and says we will be taking care of some other man's child. But my parents think I'm right not to try and convince him. So, am I the idiot for not wanting him to get a paternity test? Not the idiot. It's ultimately his choice. The ex or court may suggest one, but at least then any possible fallout will not be linked to you. All you can do is be ready to support him either way, which it sounds like you already do. I'm struggling because it might be in Chloe's best interest to know who her birth father is. You never know if there will be any hereditary issues, and with technology the way it is, she may find out when she's 20 that he isn't her bio dad and be a little hurt or even resentful that she wasn't allowed to know her real one. Everyone's the idiot here because it's a bad situation all around, with it being so up in the air if she is his. I would wait until after the court proceedings. Get custody, get your legal rights, but then do the test so that you know. What if, as she gets older, she starts asking questions? What if her mother starts telling her things like, "He's probably not your real dad anyway"? It's better to know the truth and be prepared to discuss it with her. There's no emergency here in the sense of not having time to ask for permission to do something, so why in the heck are you considering what the family said? It's not your choice or theirs. It's Jay's. End of story. You're the idiot if you try anything else. This story involves me, 33 female, and my half-sister, 32. We share a father with different mothers. Our dad was married to my mom and expecting me when he got her mom pregnant. Mom found out and kicked him to the curb, and things were always incredibly awkward. My mom chose to stay single. Dad and my half-sister's mom got married. For a long time, my half-sister and I fought like cats and dogs. She was always up my butt about how her mom was so awesome and I should choose her over my mom, that my mom was the reason we weren't a real family. I resented her for saying that when my mom was the other woman between my parents. I also resented her because my dad expected me to be way more mature than her despite our barely 1 year age gap. So we weren't great to each other. Over time, the resentment for me shifted from what our dad and her mom did and more about how she would act like my mom had no right to be in my life. She never really grew out of seeing my mom as someone who shouldn't have been there. We both married young and both struggled to have children. Last year, Mom gave me the money to go after more intensive fertility treatments, and it worked, and I'm expecting a child with my husband. However, my half-sister has still been unsuccessful, and we got into a fight recently where she said my mom should be giving her money too, since we're sisters, and she's never tried to welcome her into the family. I was enraged hearing that. For years, she's made it seem like my mom should go away and leave me to be raised by her mom, and then she says mom should have given her money. I told her she was an entitled brat if she thought that because my mom owed her nothing after the way she'd spoken about her for most of her life. I told her to go ask her mommy for money since she's so great and leave mine alone. She started to argue and I told her that her mom should do it since she's just the best ever, and if she wanted a grandchild, this was her chance. She got so upset. Our dad couldn't believe I was so unsupportive of her. Am I the idiot? Not the idiot. Why in the world would someone pay for their ex's child with someone else to get IVF? What? Your sister sounds nuts. All sorts of entitlement. She sounds obsessed with your mom. All that chatter about my mom is better than your mom might be defensive? Who is she trying to convince? You or her? Tell her to kick sand. She doesn't get to trash your mom all her life and then come running with a handout when she wants cash. Sister is a major idiot. But what's wrong with your dad? I mean, I already know because it's obvious, but it still begs the question to be asked. This home-wrecking, family-breaking, sorry excuse of a father and husband has the unmitigated gall to accuse you of being unsupportive of your half-sister's blatant entitlement to your mother and his ex's money. And your half-sister has the actual gall to say the cruelest, hateful things about your mother to your face for years. Then she gets offended that the woman she's hated all this time refuses to give her, the one who hates her even existing, money for IVF? What the heck kind of upside-down, inside-out warped reality do your half-sister and dad think this anyway? I don't often read these with my mouth agape, but holy crap. Half-sister is dripping with aggression and disdain. OP, you should have cut her down years ago and you should definitely go no contact with that whole side of your family. This is disgusting and I'd be afraid your sister will try to pull some really underhanded crap with the baby. Don't let any of them near you or your baby. I'd even go so far as to have code words for doctors and everything else, including anyone having anything to do with the baby shower. I wouldn't put it past her or your dad to try and cancel, ruin, or otherwise interfere with your peace and happiness. My wife, 59, and I, 58 male, have one son, 29, together. My wife has always been very protective of our son and just wants the best for him. However, our son came out as bi in his junior year of high school, and my wife had difficulty adjusting. Son and wife do have a relationship, but not as close. Son is engaged to a woman that's transitioning to male. He's a very nice person and I'm so happy they found each other. My wife talked non-stop about going dress shopping and he told her that he wanted to wear a nice tuxedo. So I took his fiancée shopping for a tuxedo and even helped with some of the cost. Their wedding is in June and everything is almost ready. Many family members and friends are attending. We went out to celebrate with some family and when my son asked my wife if she was excited about the wedding, she says, "Oh honey, I'm not going." Son asks why and she says because it's not the wedding I pictured for you and I can't stand your fiancé. I quickly pulled my wife aside and started scolding her for being so rude to our son and his fiancée. We got into a huge argument and I took her home. She hasn't spoken to me since the event and our son wants to go no contact with her. Am I the idiot for scolding my wife about her decision not to attend her son's wedding? So your son is marrying a trans man and your wife assumed he would want to wear a dress, and she was excited about the wedding until she found out he, of course, wanted to wear a tux. Did she not know he was trans? I tell her, well, I never pictured that I would have a wife that could be so self-centered that she's going to miss her child's wedding. Not the idiot. Your wife is showing her true colors and is a bigot. Your son and his future husband have the right to go no contact, and this might be a good reason for separation if you can't work out her issues with a therapist. Thank you for being supportive of your son. Wow, I hate this from parents. Oh, it's not what I pictured for you. Well, she isn't the one getting married. It's a shame she can't embrace the happiness that your son and his fiancée have found, but it is stuck in biphobia that she can't see that she's choosing her idealized version of your son's future over her actual living and breathing son. I would respect your son's choice to go no contact with her, and honestly, you were more than in the right when you told her off. Good on you for being a good parent.